Matt, it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Good morning, Matt. It's Friday. It's a Friday Market Vitals. It's a relaxed dress code. Every day is a relaxed dress code. Let's face it. That's the way of the world here. Yeah. We're going to show some great dress codes here in a little bit, Matt. This was shared by our friend on the Twitter sphere from KTVZ. I forget his name. That's how good of a friend he is. But, Matt, some of the great fit photos I've seen of Central Oregon come from the Mount Bachelor webcams. I mean, they got HD webcams up there. What a gorgeous shot.
Yeah. Was that this morning?
Gorgeous morning on the mountain, in the mountains.
Alpenglow right there. Alpenglow.
Just beautiful. Man, let's get right to it. We're starting out today with some old classics, Matt, some cartoons. We've talked a lot about how the best sarcasm has an element of truth. And for years, Matt, there's been great political cartooning, very sarcastic and slant. But I love this one shared by Tom McClellan. Going through my collection of stock market cartoons, I found this one from 1987. For youngsters, the human depicted is supposed to be Alan Greenspan, who took over his Fed chair in August of 1987. He didn't even have his feet wet. And anyway, the cartoon says, bears, no bears here. Nobody here but us, corrections. Matt, lots of corrections that are, in fact, bear markets in individual stocks, but not so much yet in the indices, as we've been talking about. But I thought it was a great little cartoon. Before we go to the indices, just to talk about the weekly, let's look at a couple other cartoons. Oh, wait a second. That's not a cartoon. That's Relaxed Dress Code World Economic Forum. I don't know.
Boss Claus.
Hold on. Another cartoon. Wait a second. This isn't in a cartoon either, although the verbiage seems to be fairly cartoonish. I love the one, too much freedom makes young feel unsafe and unprotected. A possible explanation for alarming. I mean, they really think we're fucking like ineligible for a thought process.
Yeah. Well, you know,
welcome to the world. And then this one, I love this one too. Back to cartoons, real cartoons. The New York Stock Exchange. When E.F. Hutton screams, people listen. A great litany of commercials with E.F. Hutton back in the day, Matt. But let's look at the indexes as it's Friday. We got a weekly close. And I know, I mean, for me, this close is getting pretty important here as the market is whipsawing like, it reminds me of a tricycle where that back wheel is falling off. And
when you think about the last, I mean, this is, pre-Fed here. So this is 9 a.m., which is, 48 hours ago. 48 hours ago, we were basically trading the same price that we're trading right now, maybe a little bit lower. This is the NASDAQ. But what we did in that 48 hours is unbelievable. We went up 700 and down 700. No, actually, we went down 800 now. So we went up 700, down 800, and today up 300 to the top of profile. And sold again right there at 960 area, which again was the high from this mess over here on the 2 days when we were waiting for the Fed. So that was the breakout line, 960 on the SPOOs, and we ran right to it, tested it, couldn't get any more buyers, took it back down. I mean, the thing is, Bob, we didn't test the low yet, which I thought we would maybe in the morning. Maybe now we have to do it in the last 3.5 hours today. I don't know. That would be 550. That was the low back here on the 6th. You can see that. And so we would go down another 270 points if that were to happen today. Wouldn't surprise me, just the way this market's been behaving. It's definitely been acting heavy. So yeah, I mean, the next move will come from a close outside of this 1,000-point range, and we haven't seen it yet. So today would be a great day for us to close below. Then you would have some follow through probably to the downside next week. That being said, we only have 4 days of trading next week, the next 2 weeks with the holidays upon us. So take some time off would be my recommendation to people.
Back in the day, my brother, one of my other brothers, I have many brothers, he worked for Levy Commodities back in the day, and they used to just take the last 2 weeks off. Everybody, the whole firm, close her, shut her down.
This will be the last show for 2 weeks. So we will be shutting her down.
Matt,
Maybe
let's look at a couple. Let's look at the.
Maybe we'll come on. Maybe we'll come on and
Spoos, Russell, and Dow. Let's look at them all.
Yeah, well, here's the Spoos again. Kind of the same thing here in the 2 weeks, and we keep holding 4,600 basically. That 4,590 there. That and 4,660 above us is kind of the meridian line. So we keep we're below that. So I'm bearish for sure in the longer time frames. But again, 2 days ago we made an all-time high on yesterday morning. Pre-Fed or after post-Fed, but pre-market. They jammed that up there, but the NASDAQ, the Dow, and the Russell didn't even get close to their highs. So again, to me, that was just another little, like you said, it was option games that were being played as we rolled over the final quarter of the year. There was all kinds of insanity, and I think that just continues to hold us up there. As far as the Dow's, the Russell and the Dow, I'll try to bring those in here real quick. Really, again, really no changes except they're whipping wildly. I mean, the Russell was down big this morning, then it went up 3%. It was up 60 points. But all that being said, it's heavy, especially on a Friday afternoon. We're now in the afternoon for most of the people. So mid-morning here. But we're still in that bracket and, just chopping like we have been so much of the year, Bob. So much of the year.
Well, yeah, the Russell's just been
but
actually, playing the wings, it's been a trader's paradise.
It has been. And every time it rallies, you sell it. And, so far it's still holding this line here at 2140. So this close is pretty interesting. This one, continues. It did. I think that was, let me see. I don't know if that was a new low this morning. Not quite. So that we needed to get down to about 2100, 2093. And even before, that one, we're way back here in January. That was January. So this is the whole year that you're looking at here. But you can see, again, it's just been in this wedge the entire year with the one little false breakout that we saw in November when everything got schmeezed and squeezed. And then the Dow, as far as that's concerned, Bob, it is. Hang on.
Get to the wise.
A lot of symbols.
Once told me.
Down 433 today. Again, it was actually up yesterday, which was strange. It was up more than the other indices, and then it finally rolled over today. But again, didn't make a new high. 36 we're 1,000 points below that November high. So again, just kind of 30 stocks chopping along there. I don't see much. Nothing too shocking is going to happen from this close today.
Literally a nothing to see here move along.
Yeah. Pretty quiet.
All right, man. We got, it is a wonderful time of the year to be an addicted sports gambler. And we got a 5-team parlay. Is this still holding up, or are these lines moved? Because
I'm sure they moved, but I put them, I put that in yesterday. I made the bet yesterday.
We got the Eagles -10. We got the Bills -10.5, the Cowboys -11, Arizona -13, and Tampa Bay -11. 5-team parlay, sticking to our system that we were on all year. Lay the 10+ points, and we got 5 of them this year. That's similar to your idea about individual stocks. You just want to be on the favorites and lay the dogs, right?
Yeah, you can eat. Well, so there's two. You can do each game individually if you want to do that, or you can just say I want to take a parlay, which I kind of like doing. Because it's the end of the year and these teams need to win, and the losers need to lose. Like Urban Legend, he's fired. We talk about him, we get him fired. I saw Davey Boy on Instagram last night crying about, "Oh, you think I want to see my stock down here at $43?" I'm like, dude.
Well, he's really gonna cry when he's seeing it at 20.
Like it's crazy. Like he was masked in a massive line flying somewhere in an airport. I was just like, oh, that looks like hell. And I'm sure everybody's just pounding him about it. So, but it's just like you said, there's a bazillion places to place your bets. So what I don't think Davey realizes, he definitely has a special business that has nothing to do with the gaming, and that's just content creation. And he gets paid for that, right? That, that's part of the Barstool umbrella, but there's really
Let me just tell you something. I'm going to share here because there's another sporting championship going on right now. And me and you have had this idea, about other sports, but this one I think works particularly good for my idea.
By the way,
now, what did you just drink? You look like
this lime watermelon is interesting.
That face wasn't the face of interesting, by the way.
Well, it was because I had some coffee in my mouth that I finished right before.
Sponsored you by Pfizer bubbly water. All right, man, we got started.
Darts.
I believe this has started. The World Dart Championship, the annual Alley Pally spectacle. And this is awesome, man. I haven't read the whole article, but I was going through it. It's the giant stadium, right? Of people playing darts, and it goes through the January 3rd. I thought 2 women have made the finals or the final grouping. 94 men, 2 women,
right,
throwing darts, and it's not for a little amount of money. There's a 2.5 million pound prize money up for grabs.
It's a big bet game too. Like if you look on, even on the Oregon sporting app that you can bet on, I'm like, you can bet on darts. I'm like, Lord.
This is great. I mean, look at this guy in the orange. I mean, he's my favorite so far, but I do like the fans because all the fans get into it too. El Sancho here.
Yeah.
But here's my thought, and we've talked about this before. I want this dart championship, but I want the drinking division, right?
Yes.
Where you got to drink a pint every 30 minutes. And then, let's see how good you
30.
do.
No, it should be about every 3 minutes.
That'd be high. I mean, you'd be puking before you got through. I don't know. All right, we can work on this. Let's work on this.
I like it.
And we've talked about this for Barstools. Let's say Barstools. Why don't you start leagues that do this? Like golf, you have to do a bong hit before every hole.
Well, and I also like the idea of not only darts, but we have one of these places, and a lot of towns do now, the axe throwing contest.
Are you telling me you want to do axe throwing and drinking at the same time?
They have it. Well, I mean, I don't even understand how it is a thing, but it's a bar where you go pay to chuck axes and you drink.
Axe throwing. Let me ask you this. All right, let's move on down the road. I'm totally lost here. All right, no, I don't need to stop sharing. I need to go here. Well, our friend Pax Trader Matt shared this photo. That's a young, good-looking, svelte HFR Bobby Heff in the hog pit, lower trading floor, definitely old floor on the river.
Look at you were all tight. Your hair was all tight.
Dude, I for sure just about a month prior, it was probably 12 inches long, and I shaved it and donated it for sure. Guaranteed. Anyway, I just wanted to talk to this just a little bit because Pax brought up some great points about how the trading pits and trading in general now, it's always been that place where everybody can come together and make a stab at it, right? You do not need a Harvard education to become a trader, right? And you didn't need that. You didn't even need a high school education to get on the trading floor. All you had to do was, and to become a member, you just had to pass the members test, which was basically, do you have a pulse and do you have enough money to put into the trading account? And by the way, do you have a felony record? Because they did not let felons into the trading pits. And so it was this awesome reminiscing about it. And I remember a couple of quotes from very smart people talking about trading being the greatest vehicle to transfer wealth from people who don't understand how hard it is to create it to those that do. And that, that idea of the street smart hustler that got into the trading pit and got to go head to head against the trust fund baby, right? And just demolish them in the trading environment. I don't know. I just wanted to bring it up. I wanted to thank Pax personally for bringing it up. It was a great thread. And just a fantastic little trip down memory lane, Matt.
And, it reminds me of trading places, right? Always, like you said, Eddie Murphy.
And the other one I remembered was Sydney. Sydney, I'll leave the last name out of it. Great old guy in the trading floor order filler. And when he was bidding or offering on a one lot paper, like definitely a retail trader coming into the pit, he'd be 47 on one. 47 on one. Come on, guys. Let him in. We'll fuck him on the way out. That's the way it was. All right, man. More clown world. All right, and I want to share. This. Because there's been a lot of news, a lot of people talking about the Rogan interview. We got vaccine failure left and right.
Yep.
And then hold on a second. Let me find this. There it is. And it was from Disclosed TV, and he was just sharing. I'm sure other people have shared the Biden press. Let me share it because it is so fucking brutal. This is our commander in chief, right? And this is the leader of the free world. Biden declares we're looking at a winter of severe illness and death for the unvaccinated.
Yeah, right.
As vaccines collapse left, right, and center, I saw Enos Cantor say, should we just cancel the NBA season because everybody's getting it?
Did he say that?
Yes, he did say that.
I love it.
Thanks for being the rod of stability and hope.
Right. Hopeless
Unbelievable. That's what he's coming with. Prepare for a winter of death, man. And then the other thing we talked about.
It's just brutal.
It's unreal. The CDC Advisory Committee votes on whether to say mRNA COVID vaccines are preferred over JNJ, 15-0. And we had this discussion about this. Like, this is what you actually wanted to see, because for sure everybody's on the take, right?
Yep.
And that means J&J has been putting money for the take.
Yep.
And so now you're going to see J&J say, oh, yeah, right? Our vaccine's not as good as theirs. Well, how about this? Like, I just see this coming now. They're going to start eating each other because the whole thing has been so corruptible and corrupted the whole fucking time.
Right.
And so I don't know. Let's jump to the J&J chart because we got to talk price discovery at some point.
Well,
but
we did early.
That back storyline of the Rogan thing, the complete and utter corruption that's going on in the whole narrative. And I got to tell you, the doctor did a great job. Dr. McCullough, I believe.
Yeah.
And he's been doing
a great job for a year and a half, 2 years.
He also tightrope very, very delicately around whether is this a conspiracy? And he honestly said, I don't think it's conspiracy. It's just how inept all of these people are. And so, like, I'd almost prefer the conspiracy, right?
Yeah.
I almost prefer somebody's getting paid off to suppress this. Then it's just a bunch of fucking idiots running the health system.
I'm with you. I mean, we both would rather that be the situation, but I don't know. There's just too much. The one thing I saw also this morning, I don't know if you saw this, Germany, for the first time, had 1 million people die in their country, which, from all causes, which is the first time they've had over 1 million people. And guess what? There's, they're 3 to 6 months, ahead of our vaccine schedule. And you can't, again, we're going to, I think the reason Biden's saying what he's saying is because.
Yeah, but he said of the unvaccinated, he's already, he's drawn the line in the sand.
That's retarded. First,
it is. Well, of course, because all the unvaccinated either already had it or has been exposed to it. And I mean, how could you not be living in society as transmissible as how could everybody
literally turn off mainstream media and it's gone. And there's nothing going on. There's nothing going on. Your life is normal. Speaking
of going on, what do you think about J&J?
You see it right here. I mean, it's the low, the COVID low 109 just peaked in the summer at 180, trading 173 as of yesterday. Obviously, the news today cramming it down $4, 2.5%. But again, this is a monster stock. I mean, they do, they also do evil things with their talcum powder, and they do.
Well, exactly. I mean, it's not just a jab company. They have a giant product line.
Yeah, they have retail, they have drugs, they have medical devices, they have all kinds, they have orthopedic, implants, the brain stuff. So this is but a piece of their company, and it's the largest, right? It's much bigger than Pfizer even. It's $445 billion, paying a 2.5%. J&J will be fine. They probably did this because they really weren't, for whatever reason, they didn't manufacture enough or something, because otherwise they would have pushed it. They're just drug pushers, and they're, So I don't, there's a story behind the story there. Why wasn't J&J of all those names? Why was, like you said, was Pfizer's pay to play that much bigger than everybody else's? If so, like you said, these guys are competitive. They'll go after each other, and that will happen, just as we've talked about. So let them eat each other. That would be the best thing. And the more they complain and bicker and fight, the less people will take the shit.
All right, freckle out just a little bit.
Omicron, sayonara, Omicron. I'm not afraid of you.
Right.
Nobody is. It's like, stop the fucking barking at us. It's so.
Well, speaking of barking, man, let me share.
What's crazy about it? I mean, we literally have the most negative president, maybe since Jimmy Carter. Like, he's just
Jimmy Carter was not negative.
Well, but his effect was.
Well, possibly, but he was a shining light. Matt, this from the AP, and let me read it. A new study by scientists at Columbia University working from home and the University of Hong Kong finds that Omicron variant is surprisingly resistant to vaccines. The author raised concerns that the variant's extensive mutations can compromise and even neutralize a vaccine's effectiveness. As Omicron continues to spread 70 times faster than the speed of light, Delta, the authors can, on the scientific community, to advise mutations get out of it. Blah, 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 blah. Meanwhile, the CDC says Pfizer and Moderna are better than J&J, but apparently none of them work, which brings us back.
Go get your fourth booster then. Since they don't work, go get another one.
Brought to you by Schmeiser.
Like if you're thinking at all, if you are alive, don't you go, what? How does how would you first of all, if you've not taken any, and if you've taken 1, 2, will you take another one? If you've taken none, now you're going to be encouraged to, because J&J sucks and those two are a little bit better, but they don't help. Yeah, sign me up. That sounds great.
Well, the thing, let me just circle back the last thing on this, because McCullough in the Rogan interview, the most jarring thing was his testimony twice now.
Yeah.
That early and aggressive intervention could save 80% of the lives. So again, Biden has a chance. He has a chance to say it's going to be, it could be a winter of much less severe illness and death if we use early intervention and protocols that have been proven for 2 years now to work. Instead,
if we took monoclonals as soon as we got a cold, and we did the nasal rinses. I mean, he even talked about your favorite nasal rinses a lot in that interview. I don't know if you caught that, but he did a deep dive into that and how
been doing it, preaching it.
Yeah, no, I know. And he talked about it, and he talked about ivermectin worked. Like you said, probably 80% of the deaths would have been paused if you just did what we had that was available with products that don't have any bad side effects that people have been taking for 40 years. Like, take it. It's no different than taking a freaking aspirin, and you would have been fine.
All right, Matt, we talk a lot about how all assets are one. And sometimes I lean, Matt, and let me explain what I mean by I lean, not a gal.
Come on, Eileen. Come on,
Eileen. And since we're ending the week here, I want to share the Bitcoin chart on the weekly. And I talked about this before. There was a time back in the late 90s, into the 2000s, where I was in the Mexican peso, and the Mexican peso pit was a great leading indicator of the stock market, because it was a risk on, risk off asset that people would run from way sooner than they would run from the stock market. I kind of think that Bitcoin right now is this type of leading indicator. And when I share the weekly, I just want to point this out now. It looks to, and again, this is the cash Bitcoin versus the Tether at Binance. But it's closing in lower momentum, and these bands are fully rounding on the weekly, the longer time frame. I talk about these longer time frames. It's like a semi. It just doesn't spin a Yui, right? It takes a long time to turn the thing around. And it is fully turning around a lot more than we're seeing in the indexes currently. So I just wanted to bring this up, point it up. Again, this doesn't roll until Sunday night. So this momentum line is 48,162. So let's call 48,000. Sunday night, if they're below 48,000, that is for sure not healthy. And when you fractal in just a little bit, let's go to the 3-day, you can see this is fully right-sided on the 3-day. It's respecting that lower momentum line, and it continues to have falling away potential, and the market keeps falling away with it. And so, you know, if Bitcoin takes a giant dump this weekend, like a further dump, or even if it just stays where it is, I mean, that is another, you know, it's come on, Irene. I mean, Eileen. Come on, Eileen. I'm leaning
Irene.
towards that
Come
thought
on,
process.
Irene. I see the same thing, and we've been battling here because this is the point of control, right? For the long, this is almost, you know, a 10-month chart, almost a year here. So 48.3 has, you know, is kind of that line in the sand, and we've, you know, been trading above it, below it, above it, below it, as we rotate. To your point, I think, you know, this is what happens. Like, these battles are formed at these different levels on the way up and now on the way down. I mean, you could see there was a lot of action around this level multiple times this year. 1, 2, you know, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, you know, again, a dozen times. And now here we are again. This is another time that we're here. So this has been the most traded price for the year. So everybody is, you know, here's the way I look at it. Everybody is basically break even that's been trading it this year, right where the market is. Like, no matter where you bought and sold it, this is where everybody is. So nothing's really happened, right? So it's traded higher, and some people bought it up there, and it traded lower, and some people bought lower, but this has been the area that people contend and fight over. So I agree with your analysis. And when we get, you know, we already probed once down to the low end of that profile, to that middle Galaga wing, if you will. And
Perfect Galaga, by the way. I mean, I was going to say it. That is textbook. When we write our textbook, that is the perfect Galaga.
That is the
Get
Galaga.
out your quarters and let's play a little arcade Galaga.
Yeah. So, you know, again, we run up to this, you know, 52, 53 area. That's the hole. You know, as we get up in here, it gets, you know, bigger, deeper. And then we've gone down to the lower end at 42,000. So we traded down, you know, today, if you look on the closer, this thing has been whipping all over again today. We dropped, you know, hard. I think you were talking about wanting to short it. And sure enough, 47 down to, you know, almost 45.4. And then it rallied hard with everything. Again, everything, the buy algo comes in, everything goes up. And now we're rolling over again. Now we're, you know, bouncing at that point of control, you know, that little end right there. So we're just balancing and chopping. And yeah, it's going to get quiet the next 4 days, and don't overthink it. Maybe it does, or maybe we have a big sell-off, because I mean, this thing has been whipping all over the place. You know, we're at trading desks might be called in to you know, to come in for that.
Are you telling me we have to do a segment next week?
We might have to.
Here's our promise. If there's more than a 4% move, we'll come back in. We'll come off the mountain.
I mean, if, you know, again, if they can take it. If they can take it outside of that 1,000-point range in the S&P or in the NASDAQ, maybe, and you know, the 40, what is it, 45.50 probably on the SPOOs has to hold. So yeah, those same numbers.
All right, man. There's the Galaga. I just wanted to bring it up because it is true. The Galaga formation, it's that one was actually more perfect. I don't even know what that was, where that was, or when that was. I just went into the archives.
Yeah,
just like that. Went into the archives and I brought it in. That's how savvy I am. All right, Matt, there was a post in the Twitter sphere talking about Feb hogs against the summer. I spent time in the hog pit, and I just want to talk a little bit about this and why you might want to calendar spread commodities. And the biggest reason you want to do that is because it's a reduced margin trade to put on. If you're long one and short another deliverable, you get a margin benefit to trade it. That being said, the lower margin does not necessarily mean there's lower risk. In fact, I think it's one of the most misconstrued ideas in trading that, oh, it's a spread. How hard can it hurt me? Well, let me just tell you, you'll trade bigger and it can carry you out. I've seen plenty of people carry it out with a spread that can't possibly go there. Anyway, two things here. I'm going to bring this spread up Feb, June, and then I want you to bring yours up and look at it. We talked about April, June a little while ago, and it's sitting there out at $11. The Feb is even more stratospheric. almost $15 underneath the June. And it looks to me on the daily like it's rounding, right? It's caught up momentum. And I know you're going to show the same thing as you look at this chart because it's moving just right into balance into that point of control. But for me, I've seen more people get carried out when they stick to an idea that the June is going to be better because of some fundamental reason. And this is why, because if there's positive news about hogs, there's way more open interest in the Feb contract. And that front month contract that has a ton more open interest is going to be the driver. So you can think, yeah, fundamentally, June should be $20 over Feb. There's this huge hole, and the hog and pig report comes out in a couple of weeks. And even if it shows that fundamentally June hogs should be $1.20, they should be $30 over Feb. It doesn't matter if it's going to rally. They're going to rally that front month where the open interest is, and you're going to carry out the fundamental traders left, right, and center. I've seen it over and over again. So, anyways, it's basically more trading that front contract, long or short the spread with the margin benefit that I've seen in the past decade trading these things than it is the actual fundamental situation on the ground. Anyway, I just wanted to share it and talk about it. And why don't you do a little justice to the Feb June calendar spread in hogs?
Sure, Bob. I've got it up here, and the point of control is going to be the line in the sand. It looks like to me 1450 minus 1450, right? So above that, I'd say you're kind of maybe off to the races and could take it up another $3 to that, or more. But again, I don't trade this, so I'm just looking at the chart, and I like what you're saying. And again, as long as that minus 17.5 area holds, it should be okay.
All right, perfect.
It definitely looked like, what was the high here? -6 or so. So it's got room to go.
It's got a lot of room to go. And again, if there's and the other thing holding over the head of this hog market is the beautiful folks in California putting together they actually voted on it, Matt. I actually appreciate it wasn't just the governor said this. They actually had a proposition and voted on animal husbandry protocols, I guess you would say, not the COVID protocols, but the amount of space that a pig gets when it's being grown to be your barbecue, pigs' rights front and center in California. And if those things go into effect December 31st, there's a lot of hog production that will not be allowed to be sold in California. By the way, 15% of the hogs produced devoured in California barbecues, restaurants, bars, etc. So it's not a little disruption in the supply side going forward. Anyway, that's what we're seeing there.
Yeah,
All right, Matt. Du jour, what do you got? Anything else?
Yeah, I got one. I was just thinking, looking through some of these vaccine names again. Novavax has gone up sharply in the last week again, obviously with all the Omicron. I think this is a good area to start selling right here at 220. Again, all this great news is not ramping up people's desire for more vaccines, and I think pretty much this Novavax and BioNTech, they're only approved in Europe. They're not even approved here. So these aren't going to be the monster mashers that people are expecting. And I would lean to be short this really from here, from 220, up to 270 for that matter. But I don't see it really getting over 250, I guess is what I'm saying. So you can limit your risk there. And then Moderna up 10 again. Listen, it was just 230, a week ago. So that's a monster move. You're up $60 again this week. Same kind of story. It's like you can sell it from 300 up to every spike. And these spikes are getting less and less, as you can tell here, Bob. So for me, it's in the hole here. A lot of, overhead above. Sell a little bit here and leave, obviously if they run this thing again, you could be selling it, towards 350, 360. But I just don't, I don't see anything above that happening with the stock continuous, the same thing happening here.
All right. Get your jab punch card, get it ready. Get your darts. All right. And
we used to play a lot of darts in college. I think one of the bars had them. It was fun. I enjoyed the game. I was not good at it, but I enjoyed it.
All right. Darts drunk. Please, bar stools. Let's collaborate.
And why, it's, like you said, you could even throw in some, people that are willing to be the dart board.
Hold on. We can do the rub me dart board. Please support us by going to redbubble.com and getting your rub me or your rub me Brandon swag. All right, Matt, thank you so much. I will speak with you soon, and welcome to the Chop Fest, because it just might be this way the rest of the year.
It just might be. Got to get used to it.
All right, pal. Have a great one. Hey, please share and retweet the broadcast. You can like it. That's okay. That's like a 4 out of 10 liking it. But if you retweet it, I'm telling you what, that's what we love.
That's what we love more than
we love retweet love. All right, Matt. Thank you.
All right, Bobby. Thanks.